Welcome to Day 3 of JLTV's exclusive coverage of the 19th Maccabiah Games, direct from the State of Israel. My name's Mitch Gaylord, coming to you from the JLTV Maccabiah headquarters. On today's edition, we meet Yair Hamburger, the chairman of the Maccabiah World Union, and learn about his family's deep connection to early Maccabiah history. We also meet the Cuban softball team. Yes, you heard it correctly. Cuba has sent a delegation to the 19th Maccabiah Games. And how about this? India has sent a delegation as well. We meet the chair of the Indian delegation along with his son, and so much more today. So buckle up as America's chosen network takes you inside the 19th Maccabiah Games.
It's noon at the Kfar Maccabiah in Tel Aviv, the headquarters for the Maccabi World Union. 100 Israeli Harley Davidson bikers are setting off for the 100 or so kilometer ride to the new Teddy Stadium in Jerusalem. They have the honor of carrying the torch for the opening ceremony for the 19th Maccabiah Games. They will travel along the beaches of Tel Aviv towards the port of Jaffa and then on to Jerusalem. They're celebrating the role of the first Maccabiah riders who travelled all across Europe from British Palestine to go as far north as Edinburgh and as far east as Lebanon to spread the word of the first Jewish International Games. In 1930 and 31, long before Facebook and Twitter, let alone tarmac roads and highways, it was very difficult for the Maccabiah to publicize the news of the Games to Jewish communities all over the world. It was down to a Belgian motorcycle manufacturer who came up with the solution of giving his bikes to the Maccabiah as long as they could find riders crazy enough to undertake the adventure.
We go now to Tel Aviv, Jerusalem. We pass Maccabi, and we hope everything will be okay.
And Maccabiah. Thank you.
Bye.
I love Israel. You can see.
That's fantastic.
That's I love in the motorcycle. I love motorcycle in Israel.
I'm here today with the head of the Harley Davidson Rider Club, supporting the 19th Maccabiah Games. Gosh, how lovely to have you here today. Please tell me how you started this incredible movement.
Hi, Catherine. All the story of the ride began 2 years ago when I walked in the Maccabiah Museum at Kfar Maccabiah, and I saw this picture. You see, this is our brother, a group at 1930 that ride from Turkish to Europe and announce the voice of Maccabiah, the first Maccabiah, which appeared at 1932.
And how many people have you got in your movement today?
In Israel, we have about 700 to 800 Harley Davidson bikers.
And I understand that in the world today, there are now about 4,000 people following this movement you started, Jewish bikers all over the world.
Yes, you're right. There's many groups of Jewish Harley Davidson bikers which saw us in the Maccabiah.
And how do you feel about this role you're going to be taking today?
For me, it's a great honor to be to support the Maccabiah. I am volunteer for 6 years from the last Maccabiah.
And each of the bikes will be taking flags from all the different countries. I believe there's 73 countries participating.
You're right.
And how will you feel taking the torch today?
To take all the riders with me with the torch and bring it to the great ceremony, the opening ceremony in Teddy, it will be a great honor.
And I noticed that you're not dressed in black leathers today. Why is that?
Because red is okay. Red is a good color.
Because it's too hot.
You're right.
Okay. Anyway, I want to say thank you so much for coming. We're going to follow your route. You better get ready to go with all your 70, your other 95 riders. And we wish you a great, great journey.
Thank you very much.
I'm off to meet one of the people whose families' lives were changed by those Maccabiah riders in 1930 and 31.
These are my two parents here.
He is Yair Hamburger. He heads one of Israel's largest insurance and financial companies and is also the chairman of Maccabi World Union. I've come to meet him in his office in Tel Aviv.
This is nice. Look here. England. You see here? Bulgaria. Germany. Here, between them is my father and aunt.
And here are the original Maccabiah riders. All of Tel Aviv flooded onto the streets to see their Jewish athletes. This was a huge moment for Jews all over the world to witness a sporting event in Eretz Israel, which was then the British Mandate of Palestine. In fact, the British only allowed the athletes a month's stay. The opening ceremony was on the 28th of March, 1932. There were 2,000 gymnasts in the stadium, dressed in white, stylish and sporty, and filled with spirit and pride.
הקבוצות הסתדרו יפה על כל שטח המגרש לשם התעמלות המונית. יחד השתתפו יותר מ-2,000 בחור ובחורה. ההופעות הספורטיביות
Can you tell us how your family first heard about the Maccabiah for 1932 games?
I reckon that my father and aunt, who were living in Frankfurt, heard it from those guys who came with their bikes to Germany, and they came to many other countries. And especially the fact that my father was the head of Maccabi Frankfurt, it was easy for him to decide to do this Maccabi Games in 1932.
And your family were obviously quite sporty.
Yes, my father was a swimmer. My aunt Susie was a swimmer and a handball player in Maccabi Deutschland. And they both came to Tel Aviv to the first Maccabiah in Palestine, 1932, sorry. And they fell in love in this country. They were overwhelmed by what they saw. Went back to Germany, and after 3 years they took the remaining family, which means their two parents and their young brother, to do Aliyah to Palestine at that time. And this is why I'm always saying so openly that Maccabi saved my family from the nails of the Nazis.
And when your parents came in 1930, when they came back in 1935, were there many other families that felt the same way as your family?
Yeah, a lot of families from Germany. You don't know how many people tell me about their grandparents or about their parents who came with Maccabi to Israel. People are starting to tell all these stories because they know that I am now in Maccabi, and I'm very thrilled by this.
You are the chairman of the World Maccabiah Union. Can you please tell us how you got into all this?
Firstly, for me to be the chairman of Maccabi is to close a chapter in my life, because my father and my aunt started it 80 years ago, and I am now the chairman of Maccabi. I was very proud to be in Vienna and to speak in front of the president of Austria and the mayor of Vienna and to say this to him: here I am. We did it. We are here, and we didn't, and we came here because of Maccabi. The sport is uniting all these people. The Jews who are members of Maccabi are tied to Israel in iron ties, but we do hope that 5% of those who are coming from abroad will stay in Israel. And maybe out of them, another 5% will marry between themselves, so we did it.
What is special about the 19th Maccabiah?
Firstly, the size. The size of the Maccabiah will be, without any doubt, the largest Maccabiah ever. 6,500 members from abroad, another 2,500 from Israel. Altogether, 9,000, never before. The most exciting thing will be the bikers. those who spread the news about Maccabi in 1932 are going to do the same now here in a parade from Kfar Maccabiah to Jerusalem with a torch. And this is without any doubt one of the hits of this Maccabiah.
Yair Hamburger, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
"81 years after the first Maccabiah riders made their 16-day journey, their feat is once again being acknowledged, honored, and celebrated at this roaring start to the 19th Maccabiah Games." This is Catherine Lurie reporting for the 19th Maccabiah.
When we come back, we meet some pioneering athletes from the first delegation ever sent to the Maccabiah Games from Cuba. Stay close. Welcome back. For the first time in Maccabiah history, the island nation of Cuba has sent a delegation of athletes to the International Games here in Israel. 55 athletes strong. Let's meet a few of them.
Hi, I'm Shay Yuval, and I'm here at Moshav Ma'ol watching the Cuban softball team compete against Team USA. This is the first time that Cuba brought a delegation to compete in the Maccabi Games, and the story of how the softball team came together is a really interesting one. Let's meet the players and hear their story. In 1997, Cuba sent one single athlete to the Maccabi Games. But this year was Cuba's debut as a country sending a delegation. A delegation 55 strong. Meet the star players of the Cuban softball team. Captain, Alejandro Eskenazi. Player, Alberto Tasher. Player, Ariel Bihar. And coach, Roberto Poposki. Okay, I've got Roberto Poposki for the coach for the Cuban team. And tell me, why is this team a dream team?
It's our dream team because the Cuban people want to play baseball, softball. This time of game is a game of the Cuban people. We are playing here together, the Cuban people for the Cuban community in Havana and the Cuban people from Israel. We are living here and sings and live like a Cuban.
So you actually put two teams together?
Our hope, yes. The hope of us for the future is all the Cuban in every part of the world, in every baseball. We make one team and play together with us now.
So how many members of your softball team are actually from Cuba and how many are from different countries?
Half.
Half, that's how many?
Eight are from Cuba and 8 from Israel.
And how often were you guys able to practice as a team together?
Together was 2 days before, only one time.
Well, it looks like you guys are doing a great job. How exciting is it for you to come?
It's great. I have no words because yesterday in the stadium was great. Playing every day with the most powerful teams of the Maccabi, Canada and Cuba. It's most important for us to play again the better to make our war after with Mexico and Israel a little more acceptable because the level is very high. The level is very high and we need to enter to the competition and step by step we want to enter to the Final Four and
we'll see what happens and hopefully
don't know what will be.
And hopefully Cuba will take a lot of medals and you make your country very proud.
medal is a dream, but it's like our team is a very, very, very lovely dream. But at the final time, we have not the support to come.
You didn't have the support, so now you have the support.
We have support because we are working together. The community in Havana, in Cuba, is working hard, and with the help of our friends, or every time the Jewish friends and other friends, or every part of the world, we are making a dream reality.
You know, it's a very admirable thing when you realize that all of Havana came together to help the Jewish community. I actually was there myself as a reporter last June, and I went to the synagogue there, and the Jewish community is definitely very strong and alive in Cuba.
I am every 2 years in Cuba. I come back every time to the synagogue, to the community, making contact with the old people, with the new people, with the younger people, the boys who was the little ones when I was in Cuba, and now are playing soccer here and playing baseball here or softball here, together with Hela, who is head of all the movement.
Hela is the first delegate who came athlete in 1997.
He's an icon of the Cuban Maccabi, real. And he's working very hard. Was talking, and he has received our support, our little support, with everything.
Now coming to bat for Team Cuba.
What can you say to encourage other countries who have not yet competed in Israel in the Maccabi Games to come?
The base is you work first, and after show to the people you can, and everyone will be here. It's a dream of us. It's our dream. I remember yesterday in the tennis stadium. I have words. Real. It was great. It was a dream. Walking in the tennis stadium.
The story of how the Cuban softball team came together is an interesting one, and maybe that'll carve the pathway for new countries to make their debut at the Maccabi Games. I'm Shay Yuval reporting from Moshe Holtzberg at the 19th Maccabi Games.
So if Cuba can send a delegation to the Games, why not India? Well, they did, and they have, for years. More on the other side. We're back with JLTV's exclusive coverage of the 19th Maccabiah Games. I'm Mitch Gaylord.
Thank you, Mitch. I'm here at the Kfar Maccabiah tennis courts. And we have a really interesting combination, father-son combination, for the Masters over 50 to 55 tennis doubles. And these men are representing India. To my right is Sam Marshall, who heads the delegation. You might think, even though he's as young as you can be in spirit, he is a little over 55. Sam, most people, when they think of India, do not think of a Jewish population in 1.2 billion people. Tell us about Judaism in India.
Well, basically, India is 1.2 billion, as you say. What happened is that at one time we had something like over 50,000, especially at the time of David Sassoon and that sort of enterprise. Now it's hardly 5,000 to 6,000, and most of them are congregated in Mumbai. Particularly the team that I'm bringing is consisting people who live in Mumbai, in the largest synagogue in Asia, which has over 1,600 congregants. And it's a real pleasure and and an obligation on my part to bring these young people who, many of them cannot even afford having a travel ticket to Israel, but who have talent, and this gives them a chance to come to Israel, plus the added bonus if 1 or 2 or 3 of them remain back for Aliyah.
And that's happened.
And that has happened several times. And that is the most gratifying thing for me. In all my 6 Maccabias, this is what I look for.
When you did your first Maccabiah, how has it changed? Did you ever think in the 19th Maccabiah it would be this much different?
Well, we came in on the 5th Maccabiah, which was, in fact, 1957. We were living in tents in Ramat Khen, so you can imagine the conditions then. We came in as the Indian team with all sorts of equipment, snake charmer instruments and all of that stuff. But leaving that aside, I must say that I'm tremendously impressed, and I give a lot of credit to Eyal Tiberga, Ilana and their team, and all the committee for what they've done so far to make this the largest, greatest Maccabi of all time, and many more to come.
You say that getting the sports going, the Jewish sports in India, is a hands-on type of situation. Explain that.
Well, basically, it's just that with the community we have in Mumbai, they are very keen on cricket. As you know, India is synonymous with cricket. But we now have karate. We've diversified to 6 sports, including badminton, table tennis, lawn tennis, karate, and even men's golf. My only regret is that until now we don't have any young ladies, and this is partly because of the culture that the fathers keep their daughters close to home, because the communities in Mumbai live together, neighbors who are Muslim, Christian, Hindus, and Jews, all as one melting pot. And we lose some of our kids.
Now, you get to play in the 50 to 55 tennis with Yosi. And there's going to be everybody 50 to 55. Your combined ages are a little older, so what is your plan? What's your strategy?
Well, first of all, I told these guys, I said, look, Yosi is 51, I'm 77, add that up, that's 128, so why don't you make it 65 to 70? He said, no, we are on the 50-55. So I met up 2 Australians whom we watched, and I thought these guys must be like 40-45, but they are the 50-55 bracket, and we're probably going to be playing them. So let's see, it's going to be fun, exciting. It's a new experience, and it's never happened before. And as my son said, Dad, you stand on the other side of the net, it probably will help. But I'm not going to do that. We're going to make our game.
Very good. Let's talk to Yosi about this, so I can have you switch places here. What's it like playing with your dad?
It'll be a real honor to have him on my left or my right, playing together, and it hasn't happened so far in the Maccabiah. So I think this is quite a historic moment. The father and son are playing together. So it will be on the one hand, I mean, also taking into consideration his age. I think he's done an amazing job, and I think he will try his best.
What about your strategy for this?
Right, that will be telling tales, won't it? So I'm not sure it will let the other side know. I'll probably just see how he is on the day, and then we'll try our best. I will stay at the net as much as possible, and I will attack at the net while he's in the back picking up the long shots.
How long have you been a tennis player?
I've played since the age of, what age, Dad?
14.
Maybe since the age of 7, so quite a long time, I'd imagine.
We even went to tennis camp in the United States, you remember, 1976.
Yes, Canada.
In Canada, that's right.
Yes.
What city?
It was actually in the lakes, Manitou, Wabbing. I guess it's near Toronto.
Well, that's quite an experience. What are your thoughts about being in Eretz Yisrael?
Oh, it's great being here. It's a beautiful country, and also being with other like-minded people, and also practicing my Hebrew. I went to Ulpan for a couple of years, so I'm trying to brush up on my Hebrew, so it's a great experience.
Ulpan is where students from other countries, from the conservative Jewish movement, are brought to Israel. One of our sons did that.
Yes, actually you have Ulpans around the world, so I went to London to an Ulpan, and which is based on the Israeli system of Hebrew teaching in Israel.
Well, it's a real mitzvah that you're here. Sam, before I would like you to, if you possibly could take off your sunglasses and tilt your hat back, because people want to see you. Look at this man, 77, I don't believe it.
What 77? I'm 55. That's the way I feel. So cut it out.
Gentlemen, thank you. We wish you nothing but the best, and we know you'll provide an outstanding performance in competition here at the Maccabiah.
Yep, sure. We're going to get back a few medals, and more than a few. Okay.
Reporting from Kfar Maccabiah tennis courts in Ramat Gan, Israel, I'm Steve Grad at the 19th Maccabiah on JLTV.
Okay, it's time for the Maccabiah Minute, brought to us by the Jewish Agency for Israel.
Our family's South African, so whenever we go back when I was younger, we threw the ball around and all that. And then when I was about 8th grade, I joined a rugby club in Palo Alto, California. And from there on out, I just fell in love with the sport. Just started playing rugby ever since.
Why Maccabiah?
It's a chance to come together as Jews and really represent the strength and passion that Jewish people have. It's one of those things where you don't get to do very often. You know, in the States, you're not really categorized as Jews. You're categorized as a rugby player, a football player. In Israel, with the Maccabiah Games, everyone here is a Jew. Everyone here is dedicated to showing their passion, the understanding that one belief is everything. And here we only have a week to get ready for this massive games, and it's one of those things where because you're Jews, you connect so much quicker, and it's a brotherhood that you can't really explain. And after high school, you don't really go away from it, but it's not as close as you used to be. So coming to Israel, you really connect and you really bring back the passion, the religion, the culture that you don't really experience that much anymore besides in your family. In Berkeley, everyone has their own opinion, but in Jewish life, you kind of push everyone else's aside, and you just come together because you're Jews. You don't really have anything, you don't care about what anyone else says. You're here for the state of Israel, you're here for yourself, you're here for the Jewish people, and you're here for the culture. And that's the biggest thing that at least we stand for, that the United States stands for.
We're back with JLTV's exclusive coverage of the 19th Maccabiah Games. I'm Mitch Gaylord.
Welcome back to Ramat Gan, Israel. I have a very special family with me and a very special person in the family. This is Moshe Holtzberg and his grandparents, Rabbi Shimon Rosenberg and the Rebbitzin Judith Rosenberg. What about this project in honor of your daughter and son-in-law?
Yes, we wanted to make memory for them, and big memory. They killed before 4.5 years And we wanted to make something for the soul and continue all their goodness which they made to all the people in the whole world. Because their house in Mumbai was a Jewish place, a warm place for all the tourists and business people which went to their house, and every day they gave very, very nice lunch for all the people without money. My daughter, she was cooking so nice, and it was wonderful. And also they had place for pray and for learning and computer for all the people. It was a lot. And it was the best place from Bet Chabad, from all the East in Asia. And we feel that we must make something for them. So now we began to build a house. It's called Beit Gabi Verifki. This is their name. A house of Gabi and Rifki, a house of goodness, Maasim. It means to make goodness for people.
Adonai Natan, Adonai Lakach. Rabbi from the government of Israel, say a few words. Rifki, Gabi, Spikey.
But I want to first ask Moshe, do you like your medals? Do you like your medallions?
Say.
Rabbi, how is he adapting to Israel? How does he like the life in Israel?
Should, because this is this land is very holy. I like it very everything, the life here. I like it. Everything from Israel, I like it.
He likes it all.
Sure.
Does he like to play sports a little bit?
I try make sport. You see of me, I don't make special sport. If I make sport, it's good.
What is it like having Moshe and raising him?
Yes, Moshe is our surprise of our life, because it's not natural that grandmother will grow a little child only for a mother. But Hashem gave us this child, and this is a big present for us, and we try to make the best to grow him in the best situation, no? Yes. In the best side, as we can, to play with him, to jump, to sit on the ground, and all of this, and with the best happiness, not to be sad, to make a mask of happiness all the time, with a smile, and we must make it natural because of him, and he's a very happy boy, very good boy, he likes friends, and we make the best for him.
And there you have the future, and it's inspiring, and this wonderful family shows the joy of how to live. And little Moshe, you watch, in the next few Maccabias, maybe in 2 or 3, Moshe will be in them.
Yeah, Moshe.
Reporting from Ramat Gan at Kfar Maccabiah, I'm Steve Grad at the 19th Maccabiah Games for JLTV.
More exclusive Maccabiah coverage only on JLTV, coming up next. Time for a flashback as we look at one of the most inspiring stories from the 18th Maccabiah Games.
Welcome to Tel Aviv, Israel. I'm Brad Pomerance. We're about to enter the Israeli Olympic Museum. It opened in the summer of 2009. Let's go take a look. Now, the minute you look in the museum, you will notice that its curators have adopted the Olympic movement's most ubiquitous symbol, the 5 interlocking rings, as the vehicle that moves you through the museum.
The first ring, the visitor will find himself in the middle of an Olympic stadium, a 360-degree audiovisual with a lot of noise, like you are at the beginning of an opening ceremony. The second ring will take you to where it all started, to the ancient Olympia, and you'll have a chance to see and to listen to a Greek athlete who will tell you his story. The third ring, it's about time to go back home, and that is the Israeli ring. The visitor will have a chance to see the 2 main historical events for us at the Olympic Games. The first one, of course, is the Munich 1972 Olympic Games, where 11 of our athletes were murdered by Arab terrorists. For us, it was a shock.
And speaking of the 1972 Munich massacre, 1968 and 1972 Israeli Olympian Shlomit Nitur joined us on our tour of the museum and reflected back on the horror of that September day, where Palestinian terrorists killed 11 members of the Israeli Olympic delegation.
At 1:35 at night, we heard that they were bombing the 2 helicopters and everyone got killed. It was a very, very horrible and terrible minute, which I will never forget. And what I do, and I'm really pleased that the Olympic Committee did this museum, and everyone can experience and see exactly what I've been going through, and to see and to be touched.
Touching indeed. Okay, back to the second part of the third ring, where we are introduced to the 6 Israelis who have won a combined 7 Olympic medals. Meet Yael Arad, silver medalist in judo in 1992 and Israel's first Olympic medalist ever.
Of course, when you win a medal, the first medal ever for your country, it's a big, big thing.
Yeah, it's bigger than just you at this point.
It's much bigger than another medal or a big achievement for yourself.
And at those same Olympic Games, Oren Smadja also won a bronze medal in judo. And at the next Olympic Games in 1996, sailing great Gal Friedman won a bronze medal, and 8 years later, Friedman won Israel's only gold medal in 2004. Now, Michael Kolganov won a bronze medal in canoeing in 2000. Eric Zevi captured a bronze medal in judo in 2004. And finally, Shahar Zuberi won a bronze medal in sailing at the 2008 Olympics. So will Israel make it 6 in a row and take home a medal at the 2012 London Games? Well, how about 2008 bronze medalist Shahar Zuberi? Will he go for the gold in London?
You want to go back in 2012, correct?
Yeah, that's the goal, to go in 2012.
We have 2 good young high jumpers, Nikki Pali and Kreuter. Judo, we have a great tradition, so maybe this time we'll see a successor to Yael Arad, a female. And Taekwondo, and who knows, maybe in other sports.
Okay, back to the museum's Olympic rings.
The fourth ring will take you into the future. It will give you a kind of a relaxation and the feeling of the strength of the Olympic movement, the global view.
So this is the beginning of the 5th ring. It's your Olympic experience. There are 4 stations. This is the first. It's a simulation of a 100-meter dash, and I am off. So this is the second station. It will test how strong my concentration is with these biofeedback monitors. Now this is the third station, and it simulates an actual marathon. And let me tell you, you'll get a real sense of the endurance you need to run at the Olympics in a marathon race. And this is the 4th and final station in your Olympic experience. This device tests your strength and power as you prepare for the Olympic Games. So next time you are in Israel, don't miss out on your own Olympic experience at Israel's new Olympic Museum.
That's all for another day of JLTV's exclusive coverage of the 19th Maccabiah Games from the State of Israel. I'm Mitch Gaylord. I'm Mitch Gaylord coming to you from the JLTV Maccabiah headquarters. The 19th Maccabiah Games on JLTV is brought to you in part by the Jewish Life Foundation. The Jewish Life Foundation uses the power of the media to educate, inform, and celebrate Jewish history, values, and traditions. If you would like to support the efforts of JLF, you can sign on to www.jewishlifefoundation.org, where you can make a tax-free charitable contribution. On behalf of the Jewish Life Foundation, we sincerely thank you for your support.